Days of Our Lives spoilers hint that J.J. Devereaux could have a new shooter Blunder ahead of him. Will horror hit and prove Theo Carver was right to worry about J.J. being back on the force? Duel fans will recall that J.J. pulled the trigger on Theo after mistakenly thinking he was an armed criminal. However, Theo ultimately found a way to forgive J.J. and put all that drama to rest. Unfortunately, seeing J.J. with a badge and a gun has caused painful memories to resurface. Theo is now struggling with PTSD again, and clearly doesn't approve of J.J.'s Salem PD comeback. That's why Theo stopped by Jada Hunter's office to voice his concerns. Although Jada had sympathy for Theo, she defended J.J. since his work as a detective has been exemplary. Jada isn't going to fire J.J. over something that happened when he was a rookie officer years ago. But could Theo's bad feeling eventually be proven right? What if there's more going on here than just Theo being stuck on a past incident? Days might be setting up a new incident instead, where J.J. once again pulls the trigger on someone too quickly. Jada may be overconfident when it comes to J.J.'s ability to make snap decisions under pressure. Days spoilers suggest J.J. could be forced into another situation where he has to think fast and make a judgment call as a cop. If J.J. makes the wrong choice, he could end up feeling haunted by yet another shooter blunder. J.J. might be the reason someone else has to fight for their life in the hospital, depending on how all this plays out. There could be another Days character who gets fired at if Theo's concerns are warranted. Theo's reaction to J.J.'s Salem PD return could be building some serious drama, so stay tuned for updates on any terrible news that might be looming. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Theo won't let this go anytime soon, which could mean he's got the right idea when it comes to J.J. and the danger that's still to come. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, September 24th, reveal that a medical crisis will strike, while Lsophia Choi plots her next sabotage step. Johnny DiMera and Chanel Dupree. DiMera's adoption chances may be doomed as a result, so here's what Duel fans can expect. For starters, Chanel and Johnny will still have their hopes up about making Tesoro part of their family. Days spoilers say Johnny and Chanel will look forward to kicking off a new chapter as parents, but they won't realize Sophia's scheming against them. Sophia will meet with Melinda Trask and perhaps voice some concerns about Chanel and Johnny adopting the baby. Melinda may think it'd be a good thing, but Sophia won't approve and will continue all her sinister plotting as a result. While Sophia tries to tank Chanel and Johnny's adoption opportunity, Paulina Price and Abe Carver will have another bonding session with Theo Carver. Theo will talk about Tony DiMera's recent business proposal, even if he doesn't go into all the details just yet. Paulina will think Theo should go for it, so she'll give him a nudge to embrace working at DiMera Enterprises and establish some roots in Salem again. It looks like Tony's hoping to shove Gabby Hernandez out of the picture and put Theo in the CEO spot instead, so his decision is bound to lead to conflict sooner or later. In the meantime, Kayla Johnson will pick up on Stephanie Johnson's anxiety. This may involve some move-in jitters, the Tate and DiMera drama, or even Stephanie's concerns about the upcoming free clinic gala. Then again, Stephanie's problem might involve an eerie feeling instead. Perhaps Stephanie will sense that she's being watched and worry that she's being paranoid. Someone is indeed lurking around Salem because of Stephanie's book and some of the things she wrote. It seems likely it's Jeremy Horton, since Days buzz points to Michael Rourke sliding in that role soon, so Stephanie's manipulative ex may already be stirring up trouble. Whatever the case, a blackout will shake things up all over town later this week. Days spoilers say Stephanie will face a stalker scare in the dark, so stay tuned for updates on the disturbing moments ahead. Until then, Julie Williams will leap into action after Foster from the bookstore suffers from some awful pain in his head. Once a medical crisis breaks out, Julie will make sure Foster sees Kayla for an examination and any treatment he might need. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Julie will hope for good news following Foster's hospital visit, so stay tuned. Brady drops into the pub and says hi to Chad, chatting about Rachel, fatherhood, and of course the Titan-DiMera war, which they're both staying out of. He heads out, only to run into Kat outside, who tells him there's no decision yet on Mark's parole, but she thanks Chad for not speaking against her brother. He, in turn, asks her back to her place to talk to her about something. They get back, and Kat's a bundle of nerves, so Chad puts her mind at ease, saying he wants to go public. Someone calls Stephanie. Put out a press release. Wait, no, not quite public. But Chad thinks maybe start admitting to others they're canoodling, on a small scale, when he's ready. So that went absolutely nowhere. As they're kissing, Kat gets a call that Mark's parole was accepted. Mark's coming back. Eventually, there's no release date yet. Stephanie's packing away, talking to Alex, who's not paying the least bit of attention to her. He's just staring at his phone. But it's not social media addiction. He's reading a story about the lawsuit. His cousins are still freezing him out. Steph suggests that he go try to make things right with Xander instead of scrolling social media and stewing. Okay, maybe it is social media addiction. Alex takes her advice and leaves. As EJ gets ready to head into his office, he takes no small delight in Tony pulling one over on the brothers Dim. Tony marvels that they thought their attack on DiMera would just be let go. Once EJ does get into work, he calls Rita and tells her shift things into high gear. Next, he calls Stephanie to move their meeting to talk about his plans for the free clinic. He says they're ahead of schedule, and Stephanie's name change has been a boon for the project. Now it's time for a press release, which Stephanie already got started on. EJ's pleased as punch, and so is Steph, who thinks this project is a great thing. And it could finally be good for the DiMera family. They've got to make a big splash with the opening, so Stephanie starts laying out some ideas. But EJ wants something huge. Like a black tie gala, Stephanie suggests, which sounds perfect for Days of Our Lives' 60th anniversary celebration. Maggie reads through a copy of the lawsuit at home, eventually throwing it across the room in disgust. She then hightails it over to the DiMera mansion to confront Tony as he relaxes with some opera. The regular kind, not the soap kind. Tony's surprised to see her, but Maggie launches right into demanding an explanation as two old friends. He lays it out, and Maggie's aghast. Titan belongs with Victor's sons. Maggie tells him he's so much better than this. She vows to do what she can to stop him if he insists on going forward. Tony thinks they can settle this in a civilized manner. If she convinces Xander and Philip to give him what he wants, it'll save them all. Xander and Philip, meanwhile, can't figure out how to keep Titan. They'd lose a trial, and Tony has all the leverage. Philip gripes about how this is the second time Tony pulled one over him, mentioning the alternative fuel project and Philip killing him. More or less. Alex shows up to cut the conversation short and try pushing his way back in, insisting none of this is his fault. Philip backs him, so Alex decides it's time to bring in Brady. Alex grabs him in no time, and Xander and Philip catch everyone up on Tony's demands, and the cousins are sufficiently horrified. A trial is out, so... What? Brady tells them to let Tony have Titan. All of it. He hates the idea of Titan falling into DiMera hands, but the company is a shell thanks to Philip and Xander. The only way to save the family legacy is getting money from Tony to start something new for the family. He's tired of them all fighting over this stupid company. Xander bristles at the idea, and Philip backs him up. Then the four devolve into all talking and yelling over each other, until Maggie stomps in and yells them all into silence. Stephanie thinks this gala could get the whole Horton clan back in full force, which again, yes, for the show's 60th. Is EJ in? Hell yeah! Maggie tells them she just came from Tony, but what I don't understand is why the four of you are fighting with each other. Brady tries leaving after Xander needles him, but Maggie stops him and tells him they aren't backing down. They need to fight. She then puts Xander in his place, calms Brady down, and gives a rousing speech Churchill would be proud of about uniting the Kiriakis family in a way Victor never did. When Tate told his dad what he'd done on Monday's Days of Our Lives, his dad was absolutely right to be horrified by his son's actions. He'd managed to make just about the worst decisions in hurting Holly and manipulating Lsophia when he tried seducing his baby mama to get info. And once he planted that kiss on her, he crossed right into cheating territory. Lsophia sure didn't waste any time in alluding to that to Holly, but she did make it seem a lot more graphic than what actually happened. And that, in turn, led to one of the most powerful punches we've seen in daytime in ages. Then, after socking Tate in the face, Holly declared the two officially, completely over. Whether or not this is actually the end of the couple remains to be seen. Folks in Salem certainly seem to think they just belong together, but Leo Howard and Ashley Puzemis acknowledge that their characters have got serious problems. Plus, they say, Tate kind of deserved what he got. It was just so left field because everything was going great. Puzemis sighs of the breakup. And then Tate decides to kiss Lsophia to get information about the baby. I find out about it and just sock him in the Brady pub. You deserve it. But I think they've slept together again. Of course, while Holly may be tying herself in knots over Tate's infidelity, Puzemis is another matter. It was so much fun and one of my favorite scenes I've done so far. And Howard doesn't even try to justify Tate's actions. 100% he deserved it, the actor exclaims. I have to tell you, when I read it, I was angry. Because as an actor, it's like, when I say how I feel about Holly, I have to believe it, and I do. And then to make a dumb decision like that, it's hard to justify. I found a way to justify it, but I was like, why would he do this? I was so frustrated. But while Tate totally deserved that punching in Howard's book, he does acknowledge that it all ties back to the desperation of not addressing the grief of having given up the baby and needing answers. He just makes some dumb decisions because of needing answers. That's the way Howard made it work. Tate lost sight of everything just because I'm so obsessed with getting answers or just having some connection, not losing this connection, that I just do a dumb thing, and this dumb thing may have just cost Tate his relationship with Holly. But Salem is certainly the town of second chances, and once all of Lsophia's lies about the baby come out, Tate may be able to score some pity points, along with a healthy dose of, I told you something was wrong. Plus, Holly thinks Tate slept with Lsophia again, which did not happen. Whether or not any of that is, or even should be, enough to get Holly to give him a second chance is another matter. But one way or another, the truth only stays buried for so long in Salem. Days of Our Lives spoilers and updates tease that Xander Kyriakis and Sarah Horton Kyriakis might be heading for a vow renewal that goes awry. Their efforts to salvage their marriage could be in vain. So let's discuss the trouble Xander is getting himself into. After a lot of deceit, Sarah has finally come to terms with the fact that she was mistaken about Xander's involvement in Philip Kyriakis' attack. She feels terrible for having doubted Xander, and blames herself for the damage done to their relationship. However, viewers are aware that Xander still struggles with anger issues, which is why Sarah is relieved to see him addressing these problems through anger management therapy with Marlena Evans. With this progress, and the knowledge of what a great father Xander is, Sarah is hopeful about getting their future back on track. Days fans have witnessed Sarah asking for forgiveness and inquiring about the possibility of rekindling their romance. While a part of Xander appears keen to fully commit to Sarah once more and mend their marriage, a significant issue looms. It was indeed Philip who assaulted Xander, yet Xander is allowing Sarah to think her earlier instincts were wrong. If Xander continues down this path, Days spoilers indicate he might jeopardize his chance to reconnect with Sarah. There's even a possibility that Xander and Sarah could reaffirm their vows in a small ceremony, but it could lead to chaos if the truth about Philip's attack surfaces at that moment. The relationship between Philip and Xander as brothers is tenuous at best, which means there's always the chance that Philip could reveal the truth and ultimately sabotage Xander's future with Sarah. Perhaps the truth will emerge due to a scheming eavesdropper or even Xander himself if he can no longer bear the guilt. Regardless, it seems logical for Xander and Sarah to make new promises now that Sarah is grappling with regrets and hoping there might be a way forward. The writers of Days appear to be preparing for another emotional setback for the couple, as if they haven't faced enough already. Sarah and Xander may choose to renew their vows and recommit to one another, but everything could unravel because of the real story behind Philip's attacker and Xander's lies. Days of Our Lives' spoilers indicate that Xander and Sarah's future together might suffer a significant blow, so stay tuned for updates on any other important relationship developments. Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Tuesday, September 23rd reveal that DiMera will keep some sinister secrets, while DiMera has a reason to worry. Maggie Kyriakis' wrath will also be unleashed. So here's what Day's viewers can expect. At the hospital, will go over some plans during a discussion with Stephanie. Since is opening a free clinic in the new wing, he may talk about holding a gala to celebrate it once it's complete. However, always has ulterior motives and may leave Stephanie concerned about what he's really up to as a result. There are always suspicions swirling when EJ's involved, so Stephanie will have more questions. Day's spoilers say is indeed hiding a shady agenda, so this storyline will lead to some lab experiment shockers down the road. In the meantime, Chad will open up to Kat Green about something that's bothering him. Kat's new job working for may continue to worry Chad, especially when he finds out they had dinner together after hours. Chad may once again urge Kat to be careful when it comes to and understand what he's capable of. Kat may promise she can handle as she secretly moves forward with the joint ICE and FBI investigation she's carrying out with Rafe Hernandez. Of course, there could be a problem if Chad is genuinely seeing another side of and perhaps developing some feelings for him. Next, Day's spoilers say Maggie Kyriakis will rip into DiMera over the press conference news, as well as the threats he's been making toward Philip Kyriakis and Xander Kyriakis. Tony may argue that the Kyriakis brothers started this when they stole DiMera Enterprises, and defend his efforts to regain the upper hand. Over with Xander, Philip, Alex Kyriakis, and Brady Black, they'll bicker about Tony's actions and whether they should cave to his pressure. There'll be a big Titan meeting as the four of them debate whether they should strike a deal with Tony, so Duel fans can definitely expect some strong opinions. Maggie will eventually barge in with an opinion of her own, so she may insist they have to fight back. Days of Our Lives spoilers suggest Maggie will offer updates on her confrontation with Tony and argue that Victor Kyriakis would want them to protect the Kyriakis family legacy. Days of Our Lives spoiler reveal that Maggie Kyriakis will confront Tony DiMera over his proposed deal to keep from going to court. Tony has always been the friendly DiMera until Chad DiMera came along. Can Maggie reason with Tony before he bankrupts Titan? Xander Kyriakis and Philip Kyriakis managed to take over DiMera Enterprises while it was struggling due to CEO issues. However, Philip was not a legitimate heir at the time. Of course, fans know that Philip used a forged document to get half of Titan in a lawsuit against Xander. DiMera was without a CEO because none of the DiMeras in Salem could run it. Kristen DiMera was kicked out. DiMera got shot and wasn't able to run DiMera either. Wei-Shin flipped and sided with Philip and Xander as long as he was allowed to run DiMera. Maggie owns part of Titan as well, and she will try to step in and defuse that situation. Maggie doesn't want the family to lose Titan. Maggie is going to try to negotiate with Tony to work this out. After all, Tony doesn't want to run DiMera. Why doesn't he just let it go? Will Tony come to some sort of agreement with Maggie? Tony has given Philip and Xander 24 hours to get back to him on his deal. However, Xander will likely talk this over with Maggie and maybe Sarah as well. Of course, Brady Black and Alex Kyriakis will need to be included in the conversation too. Will the family manage to come up with a solution for this situation? Maggie may try to play on Tony's guilt over their friendship because they used to be close. Tony was a good man once upon a time. Can Maggie make a deal with Tony and hold on to Titan? Will Tony manage to get DiMera back away from the Kyriakis brothers? Will the battle between the Kyriakis and the DiMeras end up in court instead of being settled out of court? Maggie could throw in her own money to keep Titan afloat if the value of the stocks begin to drop. Can all of the Kyriakis family band together to save Titan? Will Tony manage to pull Theo Carver into the fight for DiMera and eventually allow him to run the company as an effective CEO? Days of Our Lives' spoilers for Tuesday, September 23rd suggest some explosive moments in Salem up ahead. Someone reveals their plans, while another confronts their friend, and 4 family members butt heads. Time to talk about what fans should expect from Tuesday's show. Days of Our Lives, spoilers for Tuesday, September 23rd, suggest that DiMera will reveal his plans to Stephanie Johnson. With that said, will he really reveal his plans for the hospital, or will he fluff up a story to keep Stephanie's questions at bay? In related news, Chad DiMera shares his concerns with Kat Green. But what exactly will Chad be worried about? Could the two talk about his brother EJ and his work at the hospital, or is Chad concerned about Kat's well-being as it relates to his in-laws, Jennifer Horton Devereaux and Jack Devereaux? Across town, Maggie Kyriakis will confront Tony DiMera. This has to be about his mission to get DiMera back and swoop in for Titan as well. Maggie is #Team Titan all the way. So what words will she have for her old friend? Will things get overly heated between the two? Read this. Days of Our Lives, spoilers. Xander and Sarah's vow, renewal blows up. Attempt to save marriage. Doomed? Speaking of, Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Tuesday note that Alex Kyriakis, Brady Black, Philip Kyriakis, as well as Xander Kyriakis will butt heads. Will the next generation Kyriakis men try to come together to save Victor Kyriakis' legacy? They may all have a differing point of view on how to do this, thus the reason they are butting heads. Still, it's nice to see the four men come together, so it'll be interesting to see these scenes unfold. Can the four men fix the situation before it spirals into something terrible? What storyline are you most looking forward to during Tuesday's show? Share your thoughts. Tune into the Peacock Soap Daily and check out SOS often for the best Days of Our Lives updates, spoilers, and news. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, September 24th, show Paulina giving Theo surprising advice while Julie makes a plan to help. Paulina hates EJ DiMera. She isn't thrilled with many other members of his family and is only willing to overlook her own son-in-law's bad blood because she is committed to doing whatever it takes to make her precious Chanel happy. And Johnny seems to make Chanel happy. So Johnny is A-okay. He and Chanel are excited by the possibility of adopting baby Tesoro, especially now that Rafe and Paulina are on their side. So now that she's accommodated her daughter, Paulina is moving on to her newly returned stepson. Theo has a chance to take over the world as part of his Uncle Tony's takeover of Titan. Paulina totally thinks he should do it, even though the DiMeras are awful, except for the ones Paulina has decided aren't. But isn't she afraid they'll corrupt Abe's son? Julie has been spending a lot of time at Foster's bookstore. She's sad and mourning Doug. He's sad and mourning the fact that Americans don't read much anymore. And when they do, they are buying online, and they're buying books based on TikTok videos, not owner suggestions, like in the past. So they're both sad. Foster wants to chuck the whole thing, sell the store, and move out west, closer to his daughter. Julie needs something to do. It sure seems to be taking them a long time to figure out the obvious solution, doesn't it? We're surprised bookstores in Salem aren't doing well, considering Stephanie's book has sold so many copies that it warranted a press conference. But being a secret, best-selling author is the least of Stephanie's problems, and the least of the secrets she's keeping. Kayla wonders what else her daughter is hiding. Which one will Stephanie give up? Find out what's coming up this week in our weekly Dual Spoilers update for September 20 to 26. Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the September 24th, 2025 episode tease Foster's trip to the hospital and a hopeful Janelle. While Lsophia continues lurking around Salem, Theo gets career advice, and Foster winds up at Salem University Hospital. Lsophia meets with Melinda, then lurks in the square. Paulina offers Theo career advice. Abe meets with Foster and Julie at the bookstore. When Foster suffers a pain, he gets checked out by Kayla at the hospital. Kayla has news for Julie and Stephanie. Johnny and Chanel stay hopeful they'll be able to adopt baby Tesoro. When Tate confessed to his father Brady what he had done on Days of Our Lives, the reaction in Salem wasn't nearly as harsh as what viewers felt watching at home. The teen crossed one of the worst possible lines by trying to manipulate Lsophia, and in the process, planted a kiss that sent Holly reeling. Tate's plan was to lure her in by faking feelings for her so he could get her to reveal what really happened after she gave birth. What followed was one of the most dramatic breakups we've seen in months, punctuated by Holly delivering a fist straight to Tate's face. Tate and Holly's portrayers, Leo Howard and Ashley Puzemis, were on hand to answer questions for soaps about this major turn of events. While Holly feels hurt by the perceived betrayal, both actors are clear-eyed about what went down. As Puzemis noted, everything had been going well until Tate blew it in spectacular fashion, and she admitted it was satisfying to play Holly finally putting her foot down. Even Howard admitted he struggled when reading the script. 100%, he deserved it, he said bluntly of Tate getting punched. He recalled being genuinely angry at his character's boneheaded choice, especially after investing so much in playing Tate's feelings for Holly sincerely. Howard explained that it was difficult to justify Tate's sudden move when everything about the storyline had been building toward young love rather than sabotage. Still, Howard found his way into Tate's head by connecting it to the character's grief. He reasoned that Tate hadn't properly dealt with the pain of giving up his baby and was so desperate for answers that he lashed out recklessly. In his mind, Tate lost sight of everything just because I'm so obsessed with getting answers or just having some connection, not losing this connection, that I just do a dumb thing. For Holly, the kiss was unforgivable, especially when Lsophia wasted no time twisting the truth to make it sound far worse. The fallout may have ended the couple, at least for now, but this is Salem, and second chances are practically a way of life. Here are your Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. Johnny and Chanel want nothing more than to become parents. Since Chanel still has medical issues that keep them from having a biological child for now, adoption is the answer. Chanel is sure that the firehouse baby was meant to be hers and Johnny's, and they are well on the way to making that happen. As Johnny and Chanel remain optimistic about taking little Tesoro home, they have no idea he is the baby that they were originally supposed to adopt last spring, before all hell broke loose with Johnny and EJ. They don't realize that Tesoro's DNA is in question, and the other shoe is about to drop. Paulina will do all she can to help her daughter and son-in-law, but there is only so much she can accomplish, even as mayor. She may not even be thinking about that right now as she bonds with Theo and urges him to stay in Salem and work for DiMera Enterprises. Will Theo take his stepmom's advice? Stephanie seems excited about the idea of moving across the hall to shack up with Alex, but she is also terrified. Kayla can sense that there is something off with Stephanie, so she encourages her to open up. Stephanie admits that she is taking a big step and wonders if it is the right one. She has lived with men before, and it has never worked out. So what makes her think it will work out this time? Her relationship with Chad ended in disaster because they took things much too fast. Kayala tries to reason with Stephanie and encourages her to let go of her fears. Stephanie and Alex are in love. Alex is not trying to get over his recently murdered wife, and there should be nothing standing in their way. Well, Kayla might be wrong on that front because Stephanie's past is about to come back to haunt her in a big way. Welcome to Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP. For a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. Brady had some excellent points when he urged Alex, Xander, and Philip to take all that cool cash from Tony and rebuild Victor's legacy from the ground up. He meant it when he said the battles over Titan have done nothing but pit family members against one another for decades. Brady was tired of it and wanted it to end. Alex started seeing Brady's point, and it looked like Xander and Philip were about to cave when Maggie walked in and put an end to Brady's impassioned pleas. She had already been to see Tony and had it out with him, so she wasn't about to let Brady go without a fight. Maggie understood Brady's desire for the infighting to stop, so she urged the men to stick together and get this done. Which one was right? The one who wanted to start over, or the one who wanted to keep fighting a rival family? In the end, both companies are the legacies of two criminal masterminds who didn't build their companies legitimately. Why Days of Our Lives continues to pretend otherwise is beyond us. Perhaps it's time for the kinder, gentler offspring of Stefano and Victor to let go of what their fathers built and build back better rather than engaging in the same age-old battles. That would be a new beginning in Salem for two titanic families. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full duel recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Days of Our Lives, 2-week spoilers for Septi 22. Nemo. INT. Octio 3, 2025. Look at Sophia Choi's schemes and Brady Black's challenges. Brady urges Tate Black to make amends, possibly addressing his conflict with Holly Jonas, or his involvement with Lsophia. Meanwhile, Lsophia plays a cruel prank on Holly during a blackout. While Holly sleeps, Lsophia takes advantage of the situation to commit a harmful act in the dorm room. Marlena Evans receives distressing news, potentially related to Tate's baby and an upcoming DNA test. She also has another medical test scheduled. Additionally, ongoing issues with Rachel Black may contribute to Marlena's stress. Johnny DiMera confides in Chanel Dupree about his adoption concerns, possibly stemming from their past or his new role as a professor. This week, Lsophia takes provocative photos of Holly, hinting at a plan to use Holly's phone to send these images to Johnny, making it appear as though Holly still has feelings for him. Tensions rise between Xander Cook, Alex Kyriakis, and Philip Kyriakis, and Brady as they discuss Tony DiMera's intentions to seize control of Titan. The confrontation highlights the clash of these strong personalities on Days of Our Lives. Maggie Horton Kyriakis directly confronts Tony about his attempt to acquire her late husband's company, expressing her deep upset. DiMera discusses his plans for the free clinic with Stephanie Johnson, seeking her support for public relations. However, it's revealed that this clinic is a front for a clandestine science wing, with likely diverting funds to these secret labs rather than the clinic itself. DiMera also expresses his worries to Kat Green, potentially concerning her collaboration with Paulina Price supports Theo Carver's decision to accept a position at DiMera Enterprises under his uncle Tony. The question remains whether Abe Carver will share this supportive stance, or object to Theo's involvement with the DiMera family. Chanel and Johnny are enthusiastic about their adoption plans. However, they may face obstacles, including potential delays from Rafe Hernandez, their foster father, until the DNA results are finalized. Confirming whether the baby is Tate's son, Julie Williams offers encouragement to her friend, the bookstore owner, regarding the potential purchase of his shop. Kayla Brady notices Stephanie's nervousness, which could be related to hospital plans, her book, or the unsettling feeling of being watched, as someone is indeed following her. Lsophia devises a plan targeting Chanel and Johnny, possibly involving the provocative photos of Holly. This scheme might aim to disrupt their adoption plans, as Lsophia may fear the secret being exposed if the baby is adopted into a family connected to Tate. DiMera and Kat share a romantic interlude, seeking a more private location. Given Felicity Green's stay with her sister and Chad's responsibilities with Julie and the children, they might need a separate space like an apartment or a suite. Belle Black confronts in an elevator, but their conversation is interrupted by a blackout, leaving them trapped together. This confined situation could lead to unexpected bonding. Marlena collapses during the blackout, posing a significant risk if she isn't found promptly, or if emergency services are compromised. Sarah Horton attempts to persuade Xander, and their connection deepens with a kiss this week. Stephanie hosts a Q&A session, possibly anonymously, as Anastasia Blackwood. She is also being stalked by the same individual who targeted her and Alex the previous week. The blackout continues to affect Salem, trapping Gabby Hernandez, Brady, and Philip together. Brady urges Philip to confess to forgery, anticipating the truth will soon be public. Sarah and Xander reach an agreement amidst the blackout. Chanel and Felicity receive assistance from Alex during the power outage. Gwen Rizchek may find herself trapped in a construction zone at the hospital when the blackout hits. Jeremy Horton is suspected of stalking Stephanie, though it could be another ex. Lsophia persists in her efforts to undermine Holly and Tate's relationship and disrupt Johnny and Chanel's plans. Marlena's condition may worsen, and her involvement with the Dr. Tom Horton Free Clinic raises questions about Dr. Rolfe's potential influence on her disturbing dreams. might be secretly drugging Marlena's wine. Rachel is expected to spiral further out of control, with her mother's imprisonment and the shooting incident potentially triggering a severe mental health crisis, possibly leading to her institutionalization. The question remains whether EJ or Chad will be the first to discover that Kat is a secret spy. Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Wednesday, September 24th, reveal that Paulina Price Carver encourages Theo Carver. Meanwhile, Kayla senses Stephanie Johnson is nervous. Johnny and Chanel DiMera remain optimistic about the adoption, and Julie Williams helps Foster. Read on for Soap Opera News' full breakdown of what's coming up. Julie has been spending quite a bit of time at the local bookstore, the same spot where she and Foster have connected. He's the owner, but lately, he's been thinking about selling the place so he can spend more time with his family in California. Sweet, right? But the next time these two cross paths, the tables will turn. Julie will be the one offering support. So what's going on? Is something wrong with Foster? Could a medical scare be coming his way? Is this why Julie is supporting him in Days spoilers for Wednesday's episode? Meanwhile, Theo's return is stirring the pot in true Salem fashion. And when Theo's in town, you know it's never quiet for long. He's thinking about working at DiMera Enterprises. That is, once Tony manages to wrangle the company back into the family's hands. For now, Theo's just talking things through. And Paulina is all for it. She's cheering him on to take the leap. But what about Abe? Will he back his son's next move or not? Stay tuned. Elsewhere in Salem, Johnny and Chanel are riding high. They're happy, hopeful, and seriously excited about the adoption process. It's a huge step, and they're more ready than ever to grow their family. So far, so good. This time, things actually seem to be falling into place. And over in Stephanie's world, something's got her nerves on edge. Kayla picks up on it right away, of course. But what's bugging Stephanie? Is it the whole EJ and free clinic situation? Or something more personal? Odds are, it's about taking that big next step with Alex. Moving in together. Will Kayla offer up some classic motherly advice, or just let her daughter figure it out her own way? So, do you think Stephanie should really move in with Alex? Sound off in the comments, and don't miss more Duel spoilers coming soon. Don't forget, new episodes stream weekdays exclusively on Peacock. Foster on Days of Our Lives is played by Miles Anderson, who debuted on July 28, 2025. He is the owner of a local bookstore that is for sale, as he plans to spend more time with his family in California. According to spoilers, she is taking a very big step with Alex, which makes her nervous.